As with all things in my life, this will continue to be an evolving rough draft and probably never a final product. Oh well! It's Alirien, and today we are doing our horoscope tarot readings for the season of Ostara, which is the Spring Equinox, or the first day of spring, the beginning of spring. These readings are going to cover the span of time between Ostara, which is on March 20th, which also marks the start of Aries season, until the feast of Bealtaine, or Bealtaine, which is the 1st of May. About a 6-week period, give or take a few days. Ostara is a season of rebirth and fertility and things coming alive and coming to wake again after the cold of winter. Hopefully, these readings for each of the 12 Western Zodiac signs will bring some guidance, some much needed light and love into everyone's lives to fit with these themes. We're going to start with Aries and work our way all the way through the zodiac calendar back to Pisces. I'm going to be doing 3-card spreads out of my Modern Witch Tarot deck, which was designed by Lisa Sturl. I'm also going to be reading the bottom card of the deck for each of these readings, which helps to provide a more general context or an overview of what the reading applies to. I will also be reading as a counterpart and for further context, 1 card for each of the 12 signs from the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck. That'll be the basic structure. I have, for some ambience here, I have a rose petal scented candle, and I am drinking stuff to keep my throat hydrated. I have ocean water from Sonic that I just put in a mug because it looks better than the styrofoam Sonic branded fast food cup. It's in a lovely mug with a letter A on it. That was a gift from my friend Hannah. Without further ado, I will go ahead and start shuffling. 3 cards, please. Whoa. Well, all 3 cards jumped out at once. 10 of Cups reversed, Wheel of Fortune upright, and the Sun reversed. And the bottom card of the deck is the 7 of Pentacles. As for the Psychic Tarot, Fulfillment of Wishes. Aries, the 7 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck is outright telling me that you've been working hard towards some sort of goal, and the fruits of that labor are starting to show themselves, but you're not really close enough to the end of this path yet. You still have a lot of work ahead of you. You need to focus and remain diligent in your work in order to fully complete this task. Unfortunately, other things in your life are getting in the way. We have the 10 of Cups reversed, which says that in some sort of emotional or relationship context, something is not the way it should be or not the way that it seems. Ultimately, there's some sort of desire for peace or understanding with loved ones around you that is not succeeding. The Wheel of Fortune upright is mostly serving as a reminder that luck is always changing and it's a constant cycle of give and take. Probably particularly with this relationship, you're having a bad string of luck right now. You're feeling depressed, and that's getting in the way of this focus and this hard work, but you're being distracted by whatever's going on in this relationship. Aries, I know you can get through whatever this is. Do what you can to get your mind off of it long enough that you can focus on this work. The Sun being here as well, there are still things in your life that you can be optimistic about, that can give you joy and pull you out of this depression. This relationship is going to work out its kinks. However it resolves is going to turn other things around. The Fulfillment of Wishes card is pointing to things that are going well for you. It's honestly backing up the 7 of Pentacles. Wishes and hopes and dreams that you've had are starting to come to fruition. So the Fulfillment of Wishes is trying to help you see what the Sun is saying you're missing because you've been distracted by this relationship. Take this time while things are going well for you to look toward any of the problems that you have had and work to heal those things, keeping you from being able to get anything done as well as you are capable. Take a break from this work through this issue, and recognize everything else in your life that's actually going really, really well. You've worked really hard up to this point, and you shouldn't stop now. And that is what I have for Aries. Ooh, Taurus. Ooh, Taurus. There's a lot of mental stuff going on with Taurus. I ended up with an extra card jumping out, which I roll with. One extra card, it's fine sometimes. This is a lot of swords, and they're all inverted. And I'm seeing immediately that you're getting over some sort of grief or heartbreak. You're finally at the point where you can move on. You're really working to move forward from whatever it was. And I wish you luck with that, because that's fucking difficult. You know what? That's two. Fuck it, we gonna roll with it. So for Taurus, we have the Two of Swords inverted. So off the bat, some sort of indecision between the lesser of two evils. We have the Queen of Wands upright, and she's the only one who's upright. This is potentially your solution to the problem. We have the Seven of Swords inverted. We have the Five of Swords inverted. And the bottom of the deck is the Three of Swords inverted. There's another sword card underneath this. I'm not gonna go into that one because we don't need to, but like, this is a lot of swords. Yeah, okay. The Oracle deck also spit out an extra card. It kept trying to spit out multiple at once, and I kept telling it no, and it was like, I'm still gonna spite you, but have two instead of five. So we have together Wisdom and New Beginnings. Some sort of choice is what you are currently being faced with. Three of Swords inverted, Taurus, is telling me that you have been through recent grief of some kind. But you are finally at the point where you're starting to move on. This grief is not going to define you. And that's wonderful. But for whatever reason, you're being faced with a bit of a decision between the lesser of two evils. That's outright what the Two of Swords inverted says to me. You have a decision to make, and neither decision is truly a win. So you're just gonna have to weigh all of the pros and cons and pick the one that does you slightly more benefit or slightly less detriment. The Queen of Wands is courage, determination, and joy. She's a queen who gets shit done because she knows that she is capable of getting those things done. Either she's reminding you that you have these qualities, or she's representing someone who has these qualities who's gonna help you. But I suspect she's telling you that you have these qualities. You have the courage and the determination to get through whatever this decision is and whatever the consequences of this decision are. We also have the Seven of Swords and the Five of Swords, which both say that there's a lot of work that you want to do to move on from whatever this is. The Seven of Swords inverted says that in the past you've maybe done some things that now you're not too terribly proud of, but it was either that or stay stuck where you are, which was a worse situation. You're past that and you're wanting to change and you're wanting to start over. And that's a beautiful thing. The Five of Swords inverted shows maybe some lingering resentment, but ultimately there's a desire to reconcile and there's a desire for forgiveness and for whatever this conflict is to end. I think that these are tied together into whatever decision you are trying to make here. I'm getting a sense of needing to walk away, and it's not a comfortable walking away because you're leaving behind something that you've known for a long time, or you're leaving behind something really comfortable. And the reason it's difficult is because it's either getting out of your comfort zone into uncharted waters for your own benefit in order to move forward, or it's staying behind and dealing with the conflict but putting yourself at risk as a result. I think the cards are saying that you've reached a point where you need to walk away for your own good and potentially for the good of other people, but you need to secure your own oxygen mask before you try to help anybody else right now. And these cards are recognizing that this isn't an easy decision, but they're ultimately advising you to walk away because you have the strength, you have the determination, you have the courage to survive and to thrive after walking away from whatever this is, in spite of losing whatever you may be walking away from. The Oracle cards feel like they're saying something very similar because we have Wisdom, which typically lines up with the Hierophant, and we also have the New Beginnings card, which helps to tie the Seven and Five of Swords together. New Beginnings outright is telling you to take the leap of faith into whatever new situation out of your comfort zone you have been contemplating taking. Walking into new uncharted waters is for the better. Along with that, Wisdom is telling you that some sort of teacher or wise individual is gonna help you. Could be some aspect of yourself that you just haven't even realized is there, or maybe you forgot was there. Taurus, take the leap of faith, knowing full well that you are capable and you are ready for whatever happens. It won't be easy, but it will be better. And I wish you luck over the next 6 weeks. Oh, I forgot to say this at the beginning. With all of my tarot videos, I emphasize that you should take what resonates. Even if the designated zodiac sign I'm reading for is not in your chart, if it feels like I am speaking very directly to a situation in your life, then the reading is meant for you despite everything else. So for Gemini, we have pulled 10 of Cups inverted in the exact same spot as Aries, the Fool upright, the Wheel of Fortune upright, and the World upright. We have a bit of close of one chapter, beginning of another situation of another, close of one chapter, beginning of the next happening here. We also have from the Psychic Tarot Oracle, obstacles and challenges. Gemini, you very likewise to Aries are going through some sort of issue with relationships in your life. There is some sort of lacking in one or more relationships around you right now, which is causing a lack of emotional fulfillment with something that you have achieved. Clearly you have achieved something because the bottom of the deck, the World, is enlightenment. It is total fulfillment. Some sort of very big thing in your life has given you its reward. And the Fool in the middle of this reading is further telling me that you've reached an end and you're starting the next thing. So one underlying thing I'm gonna say to you and I'm gonna ask you to think about over the next 6 weeks is what's next? You've reached the pinnacle of something. What is your next big project? Keep that in the back of your mind. This relationship, whatever it is, like I said for Aries, this obviously should be resolved in some way, but don't let it distract you from what you've accomplished and from deciding what is next for yourself. Especially because, you know, luck and fate, whatever you want to call it, is always changing. Change and this cycle of give and take that life likes to play on us is inevitable. And we need to be flexible enough people to move with those changes and the obstacles and challenges that it throws at us. And I'm gonna get to the Oracle card in a moment. In spite of the obstacles that were in front of you, you reached this fulfillment. And that is incredible. And if you've done it once, you can do it again. Obstacles and challenges is similar to Wheel of Fortune, reminding you that things aren't always gonna be perfect and they're not always gonna go your way. On top of that is whatever difficulties you are dealing with are prime as a learning opportunity. Put away your emotions for a little bit, analyze whatever difficulties for what went wrong, how it went wrong, what you could learn from it, and how you can move forward with that knowledge and avoid the issue in the future if it's possible to avoid it in the future. Don't judge, just analyze and learn and move forward. Be ready for things to go wrong in the future as they might be currently going right now in your relationships, but take solace in the fact that you've done amazing things and you're about to walk into doing them again. Okay, Gemini? Cancer, you have the 10 of Pentacles inverted as the bottom of the deck, the Knight of Wands also inverted, the 2 of Pentacles upright, and the King of Swords also inverted. The Oracle card is Shadow. So Cancer, what I'm ultimately getting here for you is a need to be adaptable in the face of change. The underlying context and theme here with the 10 of Pentacles inverted says that there's a lack of stability and security. Knight of Wands inverted is rashness, it's recklessness, it's very much acting without thinking, typically with very, very unfortunate consequences. The 2 of Pentacles is a need for balance, being able to roll with change and adapt to change. It's quite literally being able to perform the juggling act. There's somebody juggling two things on the card. The King of Swords inverted is cruelty, it's over criticism, it's your mind and your words being very, very harsh, especially toward others. You're being manipulative and cruel. The Shadow Oracle card pretty much says the same thing as the 2 of Pentacles, a little more directly, that change is inevitable, it's always happening, and you need to be able to adapt to that change and roll with it and find the best way to keep going in the face of it, no matter what that is. Up until this point, you've been resilient and adaptable enough to deal with the changes coming toward you. I suspect that now that you're dealing with this lack of resources, perhaps it has smacked you in the face a little bit more, just how up in the air everything has been. Your priorities may be starting to slip. Everything about your behavior is starting to shift into not a very good place. You're letting this lack of resources start to get the better of you, and you're starting to lose the balancing act. You have managed well up until now, Cancer. I understand getting tired and that getting the better of you, and I suspect that if you have the moment for it, you need to take a break in spite of feeling like you don't have time, despite the constant change, because I don't think things are going to stop changing for a while for you. You need to continue to be adaptable. Thank you, Roxy. Think through everything before you do or say it so that your own words and actions aren't what cause everything to fall apart. If things fall apart in spite of your best efforts, then that is not on you. You're a water sign. Be water. You can do it, Cancer. Leo seems to be directionless. The underlying context here is the inverted lovers, and the other cards that were pulled are all inverted. We have Death, the Ace of Pentacles, Five of Swords, and the Knight of Swords. And from the Oracle deck, we have Choose Wisely, which jumped out with the Sacral Chakra. Now, I will say the Sacral Chakra is what really pulled together all of this. There's a lack of direction and some sort of relationship or disagreement that has led to what's going on in Leo's head right now. The Sacral Chakra is tied to your wants, your desires. It is emotions. It is sexuality. You letting yourself have what you desire within reason. What appears to me here is either within your own mind between two conflicting mentalities or between you and another individual. I think this is the more likely thing though. The Lovers inverted points to some sort of relationship that is out of balance and unharmonious. One side is not reciprocating to the other. The relationship as a whole is one-sided. And I think the problem side has been controlling and manipulative of you for some time, somehow. And you're maybe starting to realize what this relationship has done to you. You've maybe gotten complacent and too comfortable being in this situation, and you're a little bit afraid of doing anything out of it. We have the Death card, which inverted, it says that you have been resistant or avoidant of this change. You know that this change has to happen, Leo, and you need to stop avoiding it, because the more you do this, the worse it's gonna be for you in the long run, because when eventually life forces this change to happen and you're still trying to avoid it, thus you're not ready and you haven't done what you can to prepare for the change, you're gonna have the rug swept out from under your feet. The Ace of Pentacles speaks of missed opportunities. If you don't accept this change and dive out of your comfort zone, you're gonna miss at least one, if not several, opportunities that are waiting for you on the other side. We've got the Five of Swords inverted, which talks about a desire for forgiveness and reconciliation, which is all fine. You want to resolve whatever this issue is in this relationship, but there's also a bit of resentment. It could be you resenting the part of yourself that's been stopping you, or it could be you resenting the other person, or it could be the other person resenting you because maybe they know you've been considering leaving. That could very well be the case. The Knight of Swords inverted shows further a lack of direction. You don't know what to do, you don't know where to go. Your mind and your energy and your thoughts are so scattered, you can't focus. This is further confirmed by the two oracle cards. We have Choose Wisely, which outright states that there are several options in front of you for where you want to go, but you're feeling overwhelmed by how many options you have and possibly by the concept of making a choice at all, so it's completely halted you. The choice and the decision does not have the power over your life, you do. Weigh the pros and cons of each option and then make the one that actually is the best one for you. Sacral Chakra directly points to your wants, your desires, the things that will fulfill your happiness. The image I'm getting here, the story that has unfolded here, is that in whatever relationship the Lovers is pointing to, you, for whatever reason, have felt unable to pursue your own desires and the things that you want. In whatever context it may be, either you've been made to believe the other person's desires are also your desires, and you've been making choices based on what they want, or you know what you want, but you feel you can't pick it, you can't go for it because of X, Y, and Z other scenarios. And the time has come for you to walk away from it and make decisions for yourself. And I understand that this can be very difficult, and I can understand why the Death inverted card especially has popped up here. I know that after living so long, having convinced yourself that something someone else wants is what you want for yourself, that it can be difficult to sit down with yourself and figure out what it is that you actually want to do. This will take time to develop if you don't already know what it is. Ultimately, whatever option you pick, you need to be prepared to accept the change that it brings, because this change has to happen. This person needs to be talked to that you are not them. You have your own wants, your own needs, your own ideas, and they need to accept that in order to continue being part of your life, or they need to let go of you, because if they are gonna keep holding on to you and preventing you from doing what you want, they should not continue to take up space in your mind and in your life. You're gonna get through this, Leo. For Virgo, we have pulled mostly Wands cards. There's a lot of action or inaction this revolves around, but all of it stems from an emotional issue. Six of Cups inverted is the underlying context here, and it points to a resistance to change and some sort of clinging to the past, clinging to nostalgia. Somehow you are retreating into memories and nostalgia because that is more comfortable than pioneering forward. We have the Eight of Wands inverted, which is obstacles and delays, you being stuck in a situation of hurry up and wait. The Ten of Wands inverted is you being overburdened with responsibilities and things to do in some way. You're not delegating tasks to other people who could help you. You're not asking for help that you very clearly need, and you're not prioritizing things properly. And the King of Wands inverted shows some sort of impulsivity and overbearing nature and expectations that are really too high and just can't be reached, at least not now. As a juxtaposition though, we do have from the Oracle, prosperity begins. So here's what I'm seeing. The cards here are all showing me that in your actions and things you are trying to accomplish, you have reached a point where you need to stop or slow down. I think you're trying to do too many things all at once. I think you're trying to live up to some sort of expectation that has been set that no longer matters the way that it used to. And perhaps you might be reluctant to let go of reaching that standard because you're not sure what else you are without working toward or achieving that standard. This could be something in a relationship. Cups very often deals with relationships. It's ultimately something that's emotional. And the dog started barking.
There's a cat chasing a green fly.
You seem to be yearning for times that once were, potentially to distract yourself from the things that you have now that you need to prioritize and work on. Or the reverse, you've taken on too many things because of this past. But hello, Roxy. You ultimately seem like you've got too many things you're trying to do all at once. There's something to be said for trying to do what people claim is impossible, but you are literally trying to do the impossible right now. And you need to not, because you're gonna hurt yourself if you haven't already. I wonder if somehow there's some sort of past accomplishment that you made that was really, really good and made you feel amazing that you're trying to repeat or one up. I hope this makes sense, Virgo. That's what it really feels like. Alternatively, someone else once set a very high expectation for you. For whatever reason, you are currently in a position where you feel like you have to prove yourself to this person by reaching this standard. Ultimately, the standard is unrealistic. You need to take a step back and take a break and take your time. Let yourself be vulnerable and ask for help. You just need to stop setting the bar quite so high for yourself. I get being a perfectionist. I've been breaking myself of a lifelong habit of it myself, but you are human. If you stop trying to reach a goal that is literally unattainable, you will save yourself a lot of trouble. You need to stop living in the past. It's fine to relive old memories and get a bit of solace and get a bit of joy out of them. It's fine to be nostalgic. You can't do it to the point where your present is just slipping away from you and you're doing nothing. Prosperity begins is hinting at what is possible if you get out of this mindset, Virgo. Prosperity begins promises, new beginnings, new things that build toward a prosperous life are fully within your grasp. You just gotta resolve and alleviate all of this first. Slow down and focus on living now, not then. And all this can be yours, okay? Okay, so Libra seems to have a lot going on here because this is another one where an extra card has jumped, and it took a hot minute for the Oracle card to decide to come out. The underlying context of the Nine of Swords points to some sort of anxiety and fear is playing at you right now. It's keeping you up at night. We have the star inverted, which similarly there's a feeling of hopelessness because the star itself is meant to be hope. There's insecurity, a feeling of discouragement. The King of Swords could be good. It could very likely be you, someone who is very intellectual, represents power and truth. And the two swords cards together, Libra is an air sign. The swords are their suit in this deck. We have the Nine of Wands inverted, which is exhaustion, fatigue, reaching the point of burnout if you're not already burned out. The Four of Wands inverted is a lack of communication, instability, and potentially home conflict, but I'm not necessarily seeing that here. Definitely some sort of conflict in a close circle, because the Four of Wands typically relates to your home life, happiness, oftentimes marriage, but ultimately some sort of conflict is going on because we do also have in the Oracle deck conflict and defeat, which points to change and learning going on, a need for sensitivity, taking whatever conflict you're dealing with as a sign that perhaps instead of fighting to win, you instead need to walk away for the sake of self-preservation. Whatever this anxiety is causing the discouragement, the exhaustion, struggle with communication, and the feelings of instability. The shining light here, the King of Swords, is pointing to qualities in you or someone you know that will help. It's intellect, it's power, it's truth. It's someone with extreme clarity of mind whose intellect cuts through deception and facades to ulterior motives and finds the truth hidden beyond and makes decisions based on that truth. Cool and collected and without fail. There is power in your mind and in your intellect, and there is the power to find truth within a situation. Whatever this anxiety is, whatever's causing it, I believe that the Oracle card is suggesting that you may need to walk away from it, at the very least for now, because the Nine of Wands and the Conflict and Defeat card are both showing that you're tired. You've been fighting whatever this fight is for a while. You're burned out. You might even just be tired of being tired, because that happens. You need some you time. And it's very possible that the anxiety and the worry that's going through your head is being caused by your own mind. That's often what the Nine of Swords suggests. You are overthinking and overanalyzing something to the point where you're completely unstable. And I think that's what the solution here is. You're not walking away from a person. You're walking away from an aspect of your own mind. You need to find a way, Libra, to tell the part of your own head that is convincing you to worry about a situation that might not even have a reason to worry about it. You need to examine the situation in as true a light as you can, because you are intellectual enough to do this. Cut through the problematic thoughts to the truth of the matter. Is this really something you need to worry about? Likely not. You need to not worry either, because there's no way the thing you're worrying about could go wrong the way you're worried it will, or because it's a situation that you can't control, thus there's no point in worrying about it if you can't control it. Find the way to stop worrying and stop being anxious about the situation, either by getting out of the situation or getting out of your own head for a while. Come back to it with a fresh mind. You'll probably find that there was no use worrying in the first place. Scorpio, just from looking at this, has some good things going. Big things, at the very least. We have the Death card upright as the underlying context. So Scorpio is going through a very significant necessary change. And you're not trying to avoid it, which is a good thing. With that, I see beautiful things. We have the Queen of Wands, who is joy. She's courage. She's determination. We have the Five of Cups inverted, which is acceptance and moving on after some loss has been experienced. You've grieved, you've learned, you've accepted, and you're moving on, which is a beautiful thing. And we have the Sun, which is joy. It is success and positivity and celebration and just all great things. The Oracle card is emotional withdrawal. It's not saying that you are withdrawn, it's actually suggesting some withdrawal, but I will get to that. I think that the cards, as I've described them, speak for themselves. Big change that's bringing new opportunities is coming your way. Either it has started already or it is about to. And the Queen of Wands knows that you are courageous and determined enough to see this change through and be the better for it. She also knows you've experienced some loss recently, but you're finally reaching the point where you can move on from it. You are the better, wiser person that you needed to be going through this change, and you're allowing this change to happen. And on the other side of this grief are so many beautiful things. The sun in itself doubles down the concept of new beginnings, and often the joy and the celebration that can come with that. You're finding strength, you're finding courage, you're finding determination, you're finding happiness again, and that's amazing. So the only thing you have left to do is to finish processing the stuff that happened with this Five of Cups. Emotional withdrawal is what's suggesting this. Take some time to pull away from the material world, from the hustle and the bustle of day-to-day life, and just sit with your emotions for a bit so that you can let yourself feel emotions as they come up, and you can heal whatever stuff might be left going on emotionally, because you don't want something that hadn't been addressed when it needed to be addressed to bubble up later and potentially cause a problem. You've got great things going on, you're doing fantastic. Just take some time, even if it's just 5 minutes, and sit with your emotions, process them, work through whatever healing might be left to go. Be sure, don't let them sit and fester and cause bigger problems later. For Sagittarius, we've got some good, got some iffy. You're on the move. The Fool is your underlying context. It's new beginnings, taking leaps of faith, starting something new. And the Two of Wands further backs this up. Wands card, fire, Sagittarius is fire. The Two of Wands also says that you're at the beginning of something and you're making good moves by planning for whatever this new venture is. And you're making discoveries, or you have made a discovery. The downside right now is that in this planning and in making these moves to start this new venture, you've reached a point of indecision, because there's something that has come along where both decisions leave you more at a detriment than at a benefit. You're picking between the lesser of two evils. A choice must be made, but you're maybe holding off on making this particular choice and trying to get away from it to the point of maybe being a little immature about it. Two of Swords is what's saying you're indecisive. The Page of Cups points to immaturity and escapism. You're reluctant to make this choice because you don't like that neither option is truly a win for you. So you're avoiding it and falling into the inverted Page of Cups. You're gonna have to make this decision at some point, and if you don't, someone else, possibly life itself, will make the decision for you, and you're not gonna like the outcome. You might not like the outcome when you make the decision, but you'll be more content with it if you're the one who chose it, right? The Oracle deck has given us Stand Your Ground, which quite literally, as it says, counsels you to stand your ground. You have the strength and the courage to handle whatever life is throwing at you. Stay true to yourself, to your core beliefs and your core values. You are the one person that you have to spend the rest of your life with. You're the one person that you can most assuredly count on for the vast majority of your life. Weigh these options in this decision against those. When you make this decision, because you're gonna have to make it, stop trying to run away from it, go with the one that feels most right based on your values and your beliefs. And don't let anyone else convince you that you should stray from those values and beliefs for the sake of the other decision. Neither decision is easy, neither path will be simple. It's not about easy, it's not about simple. It's about doing what is right for you. And keep planning and just stay focused on this new journey, because knowing Sagittarius, they're not gonna stop. Keep moving. Keep planning, make this decision before someone else makes it for you. You got this. It's all good, Sagittarius. Capricorn. We're avoiding change, are we? No. Bottom of the deck, death inverted. You're trying to avoid change. Stop it. It's not healthy. The change has to happen one way or another. And if you just let yourself roll with it when it's supposed to happen, you'll be prepared for the consequences, whatever they may be, rather than, as I said before in one of the other readings, having the rug pulled out from under your feet. Let the change happen. You're gonna be okay. You're going to be okay, because there's some great things in this reading. Five of Cups. It's a bit of a sour start start, but you've been through some sort of loss or grief in some way recently. It's okay to still be upset by whatever that was. It's totally fine. You're gonna have to deal with the emotions when they come up. I don't think you're ever truly over something for good. You will, over time, be upset about it to smaller degrees and less frequently, but this grief isn't gonna be forever. Don't let this keep you avoidant of whatever's beyond it. We have the King of Wands. He's big picture. He's a leader. The King of Wands represents overcoming challenges. You've overcome so many challenges to get to where you are now, and you're gonna keep doing it. Because on the other side of this change are challenges that you need all of your focus to overcome, but also some gorgeous things. We have the Hierophant inverted, which suggests a need to break from tradition or break from expectation. It's rebellion, it's subversiveness, it's a new approach. In some way, you are gonna need to break from the mold. Two of Cups inverted is imbalance, breaking communication, or some sort of tension. And then the Oracle deck has given us Passion Ignited, which points to letting your soul soar and take you where it needs to go. New beginnings, new ideas, new revelations, and new adventures. This change that you've been avoiding is bringing you toward amazing things. If nothing else, discovering your own capabilities, because you are capable of overcoming whatever challenges you are faced with in the future. You're gonna have to think outside the box a little bit and do things differently than how people expect you to do them or think you should do them. It might not be a super easy thing. You might get some pushback. Keep your mind on the big picture, like the King of Wands wants you to do. This loss, this agony, this grief from the Five of Cups does not define you, Capricorn. Don't let it make you complacent in where you have been. This change has to happen. There are further tests coming for you. You need to just be focused on adapting to the change as it happens. Be creative. Be ready for this tension to come up, but don't let it get the best of you, because you do have good things coming to you. You just gotta let the change happen. I know change is scary, but in this case, it needs to happen, and you are gonna be the better for it. Aquarius has some interesting things going on here. The underlying context is the Five of Cups upright. So similar to Capricorn, Aquarius has gone through some sort of recent loss and grief. You're mourning whatever that was, and that's okay. Let that happen for as long as you need for now. While this is going on, we have the Seven of Cups upright, which is choices, it's daydreaming, it's illusion. We have the Ten of Pentacles, culmination, legacy, stability, accomplishment in some way. And we have the Hermit, who is contemplation, inner guidance, search for truth, that sort of thing. We have from the Oracle deck the same Passion Ignited card that Capricorn drew. It's all sorts of new beginnings, new adventures, new ideas, creative sparks coming to you, and it urges you to dive into that and follow those creative sparks, follow those new ideas, and really let yourself realize the full potential and full capability that is within you, and let your soul take flight with all of that. In spite of whatever grief the Five of Cups is representing here, there is still a lot of good going for you. In spite of this grief, you're maybe being faced with some choices here and there. Don't let yourself be bogged down by these choices. Take your time to consider all the options before you make a decision, but know that you've reached a pinnacle. You've reached a point of accomplishment here. The Ten of Pentacles is the full realization of some sort of goal with job, with money, things of that nature. There's a sense of fulfillment, and you should be able to enjoy that. In spite of this grief from the Five of Cups, you can enjoy the Ten of Pentacles and the fruition of your work that has come to be. While you're enjoying that, take some time to go within and start thinking about what's next. You've reached this goal, but what's the next step? Make sure you've learned everything that you needed to learn from this journey before you move on to the next project, because it's probably through following the Hermit's counsel to go within and really listen to your intuition that you're gonna find the things that Passion Ignited is pointing to, these new ideas, this creative spark, and this next journey you are meant to take. You have a lot of choices in front of you as to where you can go, so ultimately it is your own intuition that you should listen to. When you're ready, you can move on in spite of this grief. Pisces has had a bit of a rough go. We have the Queen of Cups inverted. Coldness, insecurity, dependence. I think you've been over-dependent on something in your life and you maybe aren't sure how to cope without at this point. We have the Wheel of Fortune inverted, which naturally is a spot of bad luck, a lack of control, or an attempt to cling to whatever control you have. We have the Five of Cups upright, which, as I said in the previous couple of readings, is some sort of recent loss, grief, agony. You have lost something. You are mourning that loss right now. Just don't overdo it because you need to turn around and realize that you haven't lost everything. There's still something to move forward with. And we have the Hierophant, who is tradition, conformity, and the concept of morality and ethics. The Oracle deck gave us the sacral chakra, which is pointing to you needing to take your own wants and desires into account. The sacral chakra is all about the things that we want. The sacral chakra is emotion, desire, creativity, and sexuality. So things of that nature are playing into all of this. You've become dependent on something for comfort, relief, escape. Obviously, we can't control everything that happens in our lives, and it can really suck when we lose control of multiple things all at once. You need to sit with that grief and let it happen and move forward naturally from it. You're not all the way back at square one with whatever you've been doing. You're not completely destroyed. There is something that you can still move forward with. The Hierophant also represents pursuit of knowledge and spiritual guidance. There is perhaps some sort of spiritual guidance that you need, or general knowledge, in order to move forward from this situation and be able to shift your focus to the things that you want. Get your sacral back in balance and stop being dependent. I'm wondering if maybe you were dependent on whatever you have lost, and now that you've lost, that's why you don't really know what to do. You need to find independence from whatever you've been clinging to. Perhaps you've been clinging to the concept of control, and that's why the Wheel of Fortune is here. You need to find a way to be able to move forward without whatever you became dependent on, because that dependence has gotten out of hand and it is leading you into not so healthy territory. Luck is ever moving and ever changing. And though you've had this string of bad luck, the wheel has to turn upright again. Find what is still there, what you can still use, and move forward with it, with the guidance that as long as you are doing things in the interest of what you want, you are doing okay for now, Pisces. Don't worry about need, worry about what you want and fulfilling those desires, fulfilling that creativity. Move away from the dependence. I think that sums it up. And there you have it, 12 readings for 12 Western Zodiac signs for the season of Ostara. I hope that everyone who has watched this has found some guidance from at least one of the readings here. I wish everybody luck moving forward with whatever they're dealing with in their lives. I hope that my readings help you make the changes and the moves that you need to make in your life to move forward toward the goal that you have. And that ultimately it is for the better for you to learn and to grow and reach your full potential as a person. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and let me know in the comments what plans you have to celebrate the beginning of spring. If you want to see more content like this and stay up to date on all my videos as they're posted, I highly suggest hitting subscribe and ring that little notification bell to turn on all of your notifications. If you liked this tarot reading video and you want to see more content like it, I have a whole playlist with all of my tarot readings that I've done here on YouTube, but you may want to specifically go back and watch the in bulk readings for a bit of reflection. If you'd like to find where I'm active on all the other social media planes, my link tree is written in the descriptive tome below. And if you would like to further contribute to content and projects like this in the future, my Patreon starts at $1 a month. The link to that is also in the link tree. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see y'all again very soon. Keep aiming, my loves. Mwah!